So unlike the overwhelming majority of people here, I'm just a blind girl that plays video games. I am the blind button masher. That's kind of a little name I've given to myself. Today, I'm going to talk about the importance of gaming to me as a disabled person, and specifically as a visually impaired person. I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of gaming accessibility as a low vision player, and a few top tips to help you design your future games with me in mind. A little bit about me. I was born visually impaired. Wasn't I adorable and squinty? I'm going to give you a brief summary of my vision, because people usually want to understand that, because, you know, when I'm in the pub and people say, oh, what are your hobbies? And I'm like, I enjoy video games, and I'm holding a white cane, and people are just like, So I am registered partially sighted. I have a condition called ocular albinism. It's basically, being an albino, there's like a spectrum of different types of the genetic condition. I've got it where it mainly affects my eyesight, but it also gives me my gorgeous blonde hair. It means that I have detailed vision up to a couple of meters. I can see a face. I can read fairly large print close to my face most of the time, but my vision varies a lot. I can go from that little bit of detail to like 5 centimeters, barely seeing anything but blurs and shapes and colors. So when I was about 9, my ophthalmologist, or eye doctor, said to my parents, Amy's hand-eye coordination needs to improve. And so he recommended video games. I am one of the only children in the history of the world to be told to play more video games. And here I am, imminently about to have a fight with my sister over a video game. So quite quickly, my babysitter, who was a teenage boy, was given the task. He was designated as an appropriate person who would know about these things. He promptly ignored all of the age-appropriate stickers and brought me Tomb Raider. And my love of gaming was born. And bless him, lovely Tim, who turned up every time with a different game for me to play. He would painstakingly go and search internet forums in like 1999 and find all the walkthroughs and the cheats for me and print them all off and turn up. He was a great guy. So gradually through my childhood, I enjoyed... So this is kind of, we've had the talk. This is like the millennial version of my history of gaming. There's no like Pong or stuff. There's millennial gaming. So yeah, I enjoyed Mario and Pokemon Blue on the Color Game Boy. Spent hours slaving over Roller Coaster Tycoon. I built and destroyed worlds on The Sims. I squinted at a tiny TV split screen for GoldenEye on an N64. And on my beloved second-hand PlayStation 1, I played all the Disney games that my mum would buy for me, and I would struggle through the Tomb Raider games that I bought for myself. She did not approve. For me, gaming very much became like a sport. As a visually impaired child in a mainstream school, sport was something I was almost entirely excluded from. And being able to play a game gave me opportunities to feel a little bit competitive that I couldn't access in real life. It was also a great way to make friends with boys. There was a camping holiday in Wales where I was the Game Boy goddess. Unfortunately, my wallet and student lifestyle meant that I kind of fell out of gaming a bit until quite recently, when I met this lovely guy here. This is his other half. He loves his gaming, but he has a chronic inability to finish any games. So when I was having a bit of a hard time writing my PhD, I would be typing away or pretending, mostly on Twitter. And he'd be in the other room playing games, and I got more and more interested in what he was playing and gradually started to pick up the control a little bit more often. And actually, it became quite an important part of my life because other half bought me the Tomb Raider reboot when it came out, and I was like, well, I love this game when I was younger, I might as well give it a go. And during my PhD, I had some serious mental health issues, as most people with PhDs do. And I ended up with very severe depression and anxiety, and once again, medical intervention Doctor said, well, why don't you use your gaming as a reward? And that way you can motivate yourself through your day. So that was how I did it. I could work through the real life grind of my PhD with the promise of a distracting and rewarding virtual world at 5 p.m. On another adventure with Lara or Geralt or Nathan Drake or the Assassins, my mind was occupied, and it was a blessed relief from the often dark and difficult thoughts I'd had during the day. So a little bit more about me as a gamer now. That's my gaming setup. I'm blind. I have to sit really close to the TV. Yes, my legs can barely fit in. I am like an arm's length from the telly. Sometimes I have to lean in so close, my nose touches the screen. I have to wipe my nose up and down the screen. Promise I clean it afterwards. So I'm a typical kind of hobby, casual gamer. I play maybe one evening a week, and on the weekends. We are a more consoles than people household. I mainly play on the PlayStation, other half plays on the Xbox. We also have a Switch. He PC games a bit, I don't really. We usually play a few blockbuster games and a couple of indie ones. So what kind of games do I like? These ones. So my vision does limit the kind of games I can play. I find first-person shooters impossible. I also can't really do racing games, although Sightless Combat has told me we can change that. I love a third-person action adventure. I love a great narrative. I love complex characters, plenty of puzzles, just a little bit of combat. I like the recent influence of RPG and open-world on-action adventure games. So these are a few of the games I've played recently. For those of you that can't see the slides, Witcher 3, Tomb Raider Reboot Trilogy, Assassin's Creed, Syndicate Origins and Odyssey, Uncharted 1 to 4, Horizon Zero Dawn, Last of Us, you get it. So, there are a few key issues that will make a game a success for me or not. So I'm going to go through them. First, maps and menus. Second, wayfinding. Third, scenery and lighting. Fourth, button mashing and puzzles. And fifth, gameplay. Did I get lost with my numbers there? Because I was also checking my timing. Okay, so first, maps and menus. One of the biggest challenges in gaming comes from the tiny, tiny text on maps and menus. Anything overly cluttered, anything I can't increase the text size of, it excludes me from the game. And as nice as other half is, he cannot come and sit down and read a whole menu to me every single time I want to change a skill set. That's the reason I couldn't play God of War. I couldn't play it. The text is too tiny. The parchment vibe, couldn't play it. So, what will help me play with? So here's a few examples. I've got some examples from Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed, Tomb Raider again, Assassin's Creed again. This is mainly because I only just discovered this whole share function on my PlayStation, so I don't have a huge amount of images. What would help me play? Stuff we've already talked about, dynamic text, being able to increase the font size. On my iPad and iPhone, I have a dynamic text function where I say, this is the size I can read, and then apps pick it up. If I could do the same with my console, that would be amazing. Having a zoom and pan function, yes, the PlayStation technically has the zoom and pan function. Does it work with most games? No, it does not. Having a screen reader is coming, and having it in more games will make a huge difference to me. And hearing some of the examples today, I've started to think, oh, that's a game I could play, that's cool. So another thing is wayfinding. Wayfinding can be a really big issue. It's kind of related to maps. If the map is too tiny small and I can't read the map, then sometimes I just get really lost in a game. Even a structured narrative, something like Uncharted, kept getting lost. So I had to watch a walkthrough, not because I can't play the game, but I just can't find my way around it. So games getting this right. Assassin's Creed has a good zoom and pan function on the map. It has that kind of level setting for labeling, and that meant that I could have quite a detailed level of labeling, which really helped me find my way around. And it also had that, I'm not from the industry, I don't know what this term is, but you got on the horse and you were like, go here, horse, and the horse was like, let's go. More of that would be great. So, here's a little clip of me doing some wayfinding. It's from SpiderMan. I just started playing the game, so it's a bit rubbish. So hopefully it works. Please work. There we go.
So this giant beam of light, right? That, ladies and gentlemen, is good signposting for accessibility reasons. That I can find, okay? It's great.
So now you'll watch me embarrassingly badly jump around because I've been playing this game for like 2 hours and was like, how the hell do I get from there? Now I'm lost and I'm like, oh God, I've run up this wall. Excuse me, sorry, coming through. So then I lose it.
Come on. And then it disappears. There you are. I can hear you beeping.
So I can hear it beeping, which is a crucial part of wayfinding for me, is when you add auditory clues. And I love the beeping backpacks in SpiderMan. I do find it, I promise. There you go.
Beepy.
Nearly got it.
Gotcha.
Woo. So, having auditory cues, having wayfinding that is built into the game really helps me just, get my way around. I know lots of people want difficulty settings in open worlds that make it more of a challenge to get around, but can we just toggle that on and off? I want to be able to enjoy an open world without getting so frustrated that I'm constantly lost in it. Having labelling and having good wayfinding makes a really good change for me. So again, related to this is scenery and lighting. So obviously we have some gorgeous new cinematic scenery in games like Horizon Zero Dawn. I found The Last of Us is beautiful, but it can create challenges. Obviously, we can all auto-adjust the brightness in games to a preference. This doesn't resolve issues with contrast or just the general palette of the game. So, for example, Kingdom of Hearts was given rave reviews for its visual accessibility, and I was like, I can't see anything in this. It's just like a balloon factory vomited, and I can't find anything in this screen, and I tried turning off the animations. It was still too busy for me. So a really important tip is to think about the weather, because in Horizon, beautiful sunsets and sunrises, but it casts the world into glare and shadow. So for me, as someone who's light sensitive, I just had to go and sit in a forest and be like, okay, wait until this is done. It's gonna be nighttime already. Hurry up. So that was really frustrating. Here's an example of an old Uncharted game. I'm not quite sure which one, but I mean, that palette is like a hot mess of grey. My recommendation, have different lighting options. If you can turn weather on or off, so you could just have constant day or constant night in an open world setting, that would be fantastic. Think about being able to turn on and off weather features like rain or really bright sun. And just as everyone's already said, think about high contrast, think about your colour palette. It's good for me, it's good for other people. So, next. Button mashing and puzzles. So obviously this is a great area where the sector has made huge progress, especially for the QuickTime events. Now, my understanding is the QuickTime event skip was designed for people with fine motor function challenges, but for me as a visually impaired person, it works really well. I can't see quickly enough to guess which button. So he's upstairs playing Destiny, and I'm like, honey, it's a QuickTime button event. Can you help me? And he has to log off Destiny, annoys the clan. He has to come downstairs, and then he sat behind me going, square, triangle, circle, square, triangle, circle. So being able to skip those has made our relationship a lot happier. So obviously having that in SpiderMan has been really great. So I'm just going to show you a little clip of a particularly bad example. So this is from The Last of Us. It's like a cutscene button mashing with Joel falling into water. Baddie, he pushes Joel in the water. Oh no, Joel. And there's like a teeny tiny little square, and it's moving around because, it's dramatic. But what that means is I'm trying to track it over the screen. I'm like, oh, I think that's a square. How many times do I hit it? Where's it gone? Oh, how do I hit it? And that's really challenging. Why can't that just be bigger on the screen? You know, Ellie sorts it out, she shoots him, it's fine. Sorry, hashtag spoilers for that really old game. If you could also not just think about your font size, but think about your button cue size. There's so much of that screen that is not being used. Like, why can't I have a big old corner bash button? That's what I want. So more generally, keeping that list of the button combos in SpiderMan that I think Cherry was talking about, that's really useful. And always can we just make building in the puzzle skipping and the quick time events and the button bashing, having that as a skip as standard is great. So next, on to gameplay. So unsurprisingly, I am not the most accurate shot. And now I'm going to play you me being bad at video games, basically. So this is again from The Last of Us. So there's a zombie in the back here, and I'd played through this scenario several times. I'd taken everyone else out using stealth, and I'd realised that if I came any further forward on this raised platform, that they'd see me. So I was trying to hit them with this bow and arrow, and I'm turning on the Spidey senses to find where they are, but I'm really struggling to make this shot. I mess it up repeatedly. There'd been about 5 minutes of this, so be grateful that this is the only bit that you've got. So for someone like me, any part of a game that relies on these kind of like accurate shots can be very frustrating. So you'll watch, I do several attempts, I can't find it, I can't see it, the lighting isn't great, the palette isn't great. I keep using the Spidey senses to try and track and locate where the zombie is. Last of Us had good auditory mapping. I mean, you may hear that was a clicker. Very scary. So if we just watch through, basically I get a bit frustrated. I'm like, ugh, can't do this. Really annoyed. So I go to my default. I use a kind of area of effect weapon. It's about to go boom, guys. Kaboom. So this is then how I often have to play games. The big guy's not happy. So there's a massive zombie that's going to come over and be like, what's going on over here? And I have to use a resource. So very much of my gameplay, I can be stuck crafting. It's very expensive as a gameplay. I constantly have to use melee weapons and area of effect weapons because I can't do the accurate shots. So it's about to get a bit loud. There you go. Got him. So for me, there are several things that can make that a bit easier. So first, Spidey senses. I'm sure it has like a gamey term, I don't know what it is. So here's another clip where it's kind of a better example of Spidey senses. There is a jump scare. If you're unfamiliar with the game, I'm going to say when it is. So she crawls through the hole, and then their wolf kind of pops out.
The walls are porous. The oil must be seeping through.
She's chatting about the walls being porous, I'm sorry. The subtitles haven't come in. Okay, jump scare coming in any minute. Here it comes. Angry. So this is a kind of typical experience for me when I'm using the Spidey senses. So turn it on. Oh, look, everything's nice and bright and yellow. That's really helpful. I can pick that out in the environment. And the other good thing is that it lingers. So the yellow kind of stays in the environment so I can continue to pick something out. Now there's an auditory cue. Something bad is coming, scary bad music. Again, there's going to be, I've got my gun out. It's going to be a disaster. I'm a bit scared.
Here they come.
So now I'm getting attacked, as you can see. Rubbish. Keep getting bitten. Nightmare. Okay, quick time event. Other half's behind me shouting, triangle, triangle. Get that guy. You can see for me, my aiming is really difficult because it takes me so long to see an object. I'm like, hey, where is it? Eventually I do get them all, I promise. But this kind of scene, without aim assist, can take me 6, 7, 8 attempts. There's no option for me to kind of sneak that about, and it can be really frustrating. But then that aftershock glow, those nice bright Spidey senses can really help me. So, make those Spidey senses fixed. Let me toggle it on so I can turn objects and enemies bright colours all the time. Or if I know I'm going into a combat scenario, I can click it on, there they are, all lovely, bright and highlighted, and then I can take them out. So next, aim assist, which obviously would have helped in that situation. Horizon Zero Dawn, there is a trick shot that is part of the narrative that I had to get other half to do, because I simply couldn't progress in the game because I couldn't do the trick shot. And like I said, it means I have to rely on melee weapons, on area of effect weapons. It takes a long time and it frustrates my gameplay. The aim assist in Assassin's Creed was great. I turned it on when I wanted to fight a boss, turned it off again later on. And if we could implement that across all games, that would be brilliant. So stealth. Stealth is my modus operandi. I am a sneaky lady. And finally, I'm going to show you that I actually can play video games and I can do it well, all right? So this is me being sneaky in Assassin's Creed. So jumping off the wall to go take out some soldiers. I'm being my girl Cassandra, we love her. Stealthy games allow me to plan, they allow me to position myself. It means I can lay traps, I can dispel an enemy with one tap. It's much easier for me than the panicked aiming of a firefight. I can take my time, and actually having more stealth options in gameplay. If I come up against a firefight that I cannot get past, I will stop playing your game. It's not a very dignified death, that one. Basically, he gets stabbed and then he falls backwards and his little pants show. I loved having stealthy characters. In Assassin's Creed Syndicate, there's the female character, I forget her name, but she was the stealth character and I played her a lot because then it meant that the scenarios were more tailored to her as a character. So if we could switch up a firefight, if I enter that scenario in your game, in a narrative sequence, and I have the option of puzzle, firefight, stealth, I would love that, because then I can choose a puzzle or stealth, and I don't have to panicked aim, get attacked by wolves, etc. So finally, there's something that makes my gameplay a lot easier, and it's really fun for us both. It's two-player. Here's me, another half, posing in front of our lovely house in Minecraft. It's beautiful. It's very basic, we're very new to it. We can play together on a split screen, and other half can guide me through a game. My amazing puzzle-solving skills, his shoot 'em up, we're a dream team. But increasingly, as we've already heard today, split screen isn't available. I'm very excited to hear about some of this co-piloting, and I think that's definitely something we'd explore. But we love a split screen. For example, we're playing Prison Break at the moment. It's like an indie, very narrative game, two-player. It's really fun. We're playing it together. It's more sociable and cooperative. So please make more games like this, or just put a split screen in for us. Because, of course, it makes things a lot more fun. So, obviously, we've got to talk about Minecraft. And here is other half and I playing together. There's a swear, I apologise. So we're going into the Nether.
Why not?
It's our first trip into the Nether.
Bullshit.
So I've set myself on fire. I always do. So I'm taking on the blazes. It's not going well.
Are we going to just try and pick them off?
So we're trying to pick them off. I've set myself on fire again. So other half sorts it out. He does the combat.
How was that? What was that?
I don't know. I don't know what that was.
Kill it?
I'm just healing. I'm healing. What is it? What is it? It's like a stackable burning. Oh, you killed it.
Whoa!
Where are you? Oh my god, there's like mini ones. You need me? I'm coming in. I'm gonna get them. Get them. They're like the silverfish, but I think I got it. That's terrifying.
So that's Amy does Leroy Jenkins, basically. Simple graphics make Minecraft a joyful play for me. We were talking about the game you can play when you're a bit low on spoons. Well, when I'm a bit low on vision, I can play Minecraft because I can play it with him and he can help me. And we can defeat the scary, stackable lava monsters of the world. So, in conclusion, for many disabled people, gaming is an opportunity to share a community, an identity, and an experience often denied to us in life by an inaccessible society. I can win a video game. I can be competitive. I can race. I can solve the puzzle first. I can be faster or a higher level or more accurate than a non-disabled person. I can experience the adrenaline of beating a boss, the satisfaction of leveling up after hours of combat, the relief of reaching the cutscene. I'm even making baby steps into the world of streaming, and I'm finding an even bigger, more welcoming community of gamers online. I don't know if I'm going to lose more vision in the future, but depending on the choices that the people in this room make, I might only get a few more years of gaming. I hope some of the points that I've made you'll take back, and I hope they've helped you reflect on how you can make games more accessible to low vision players like me. But my biggest piece of advice is to involve disabled people in your game design. Events like this are great. These design sprints sound fantastic. But make sure that you involve disabled people and also pay disabled people for their time and their expertise. Because we've got a lot to offer, and we're 20% of your customers. And if you design a good game, I'm going to come back to your studio again and again and again. But if you exclude me, I'm not going to look next at your next option. So thank you very much. I've been the Blind Button Masher.